happen. So the cool thing about tonight is the girl that started this, her name's Morgan. I say girl, she's a woman, she's a lady. I met her at, I call it Jewel School. It's the excellence school. So when you hit Jewel level in our company, you're invited to corporate to go to excellence training, because corporate has, you know, we have that one plexus culture and they want you to run your business with excellence. So you're invited to this Jewel School, and Morgan and I had a really fun Instagram relationship. We took it to the next level meeting at Jewel School, and I got to hear her story and she got to hear some of mine. And something that I told one of our diamond friends in Hawaii years and years ago, when she was like sapphire for like 7 years or whatever, Robin Sullivan, you know who she is. If you don't know who she is, follow her. Her story and testimony and love for Jesus is so cool. But she, we were at the pool one day and she's like, I'm just so sick of being sapphire. And I was like, stop being sapphire. Well, I was telling this story to Morgan because Morgan Johnson is also a sapphire ambassador in Plexus. And I said, Morgan, stop being sapphire. So for those of you on tonight and you're in this struggle bus and you keep telling yourself you're stuck, you're not a tree. We're humans. We have the ability and the freedom and the choice to move. And so for those of you who are like, I'm just stuck, I'm out of people, I'm out of ideas, you're just feeling all the things, feel the things. That's fine. Feel the things and get over yourself and make a move, because you can. And with Morgan, one, she's just joyful and I love her smile and she's so cool to be around. And most importantly, a month goes by, 2 months goes by. I don't know how much time. ADHD, you guys. I don't even know what today is. I just know today we had a Zoom because my calendar told me 8 times. But we're sitting there and I tell Morgan to stop being sapphire, and then 2 months later it's Motivation Monday, and Emily, one of our other guests tonight, is telling her story, and I'm like, hold on a minute. And so I go and I'm like, I look up Emily. Does anybody else do that? You Plexus stalk, like if they're on a call or a Zoom and you just happen to get the Zoom information or the whatever, and you're like, I got to find this person. So I go and I look her up and it's like all locked, unlocked, you know, it's all secret. And I'm like, okay, but we have a mutual friend and I see it's Morgan and I'm like, wait a minute. So I messaged Morgan. I'm like, is this your girl or something like that? I don't know what I said. And she was like, she's mine. And she's a fast start gold or something like that. And I was like, shut up. Like, this is so cool. We were just talking about moving our business forward and making moves and like, what's the story? And so I continue to watch this Motivational Monday and I'm blown away. She's going to share with you her story. Both of them will. I've asked Morgan to kind of share her headspace before Emily came into her business, but also the relationship the two of them had that led to Emily actually saying yes to Plexus, because so many of you are in that season right now where you have that one person that you think is just so rad and awesome. And you're like, I want them in my life. I want to do business with them. And they're like, no, thank you. Or like me, we say in the South, bless your heart. I said that to a lot of people that asked me to do Plexus, and you guys know that. That's kind of like what Emily said to Morgan. I'm going to let them tell that story, but I'm going to share some fun facts I asked them to share with me. I'm like, my team doesn't know who you guys are. So Morgan Johnson, Sapphire Ambassador, Emily Powers, Fast Start Brand Ambassador. Morgan has 4 kids. She's a pastor's wife from North Carolina. She started the business in secret and skeptically 6 months later said, you know what, I think I might share. Does that relate to anybody? Please share in the chat. Quickly started with normal bathroom habits, balanced hormones, no more naps, no more headaches. Her immune system changed and her chocolate addiction was cured. Can I get an amen? I love chocolate, but you know what I don't love? The things that come with eating chocolate in bed at midnight, because you wake up and your pants don't fit. It's so weird how that happens, right? But Morgan, we relate to that. Emily says, a few fun facts. My husband and I own a construction company, so that's really cool. She's full-time outside of Plexus. They have 2 girls, 17 and 11, and they are homeschooled. They are the founders and senior leaders of a house church network. She says, God healed me of autoimmune disease, anxiety, depression, PTSD, and even the beginning of DID. So I'm very passionate about knowing him and helping him lay hold of the it is finished work of Jesus Christ. Amen. She says, I'm a pianist and a writer. So cool. I love food, especially Mediterranean. We're going to need an example of that. I only speak Mexican. I'm from Texas. So you guys tell me like beans, cheese, and rice all day. As she says, as a former high school English teacher, one of my favorite living authors is Charles Martin. She jokingly was like, was that too much? Was that too little? Was that enough fun facts? I feel like we know you and now we're friends with you. We're on that level. My team is super cool. We have people from all over the world on tonight. A lot of them are East Coasters. So we're going to get this show on the road because I know they're probably going to get sleepy. So Morgan, if you wouldn't mind kind of kicking us off and explaining your headspace and not your whole story, but like, okay, you've been Sapphire for a minute. Remember how I tell you not to be Sapphire anymore?
Yeah.
Tell them that story. I got to look for your bubble so I can make you bigger. Okay, hold on. Here we go. I'm going to pin you so everyone can see you. Okay, tell us about that headspace, and then you can introduce Emily, and so she can give her point of view. You know, like when you read a book and it's like the girl's perspective and the guy's perspective. That's what I want, because I want them to know where you were at and then where Emily was at.
Yes, that's perfect. Well, thank you so much for having us on tonight, Emily. As she said, we met at Jewel School, and it was so cool to have her there. Like, all of us were like, are you a trainer or why are you here? So it was such a treat that she was there learning, and it was the best thing ever. So y'all get to Jewel School, first of all. And it was a huge motivation that like kind of launched me forward just going there. But I'll back up a little bit. So I've been in Plexus for 6 years, but initially when I joined, I didn't know why I joined. I thought I was healthy. I was just drawn to the supplements. My upline, my direct upline is Krista Deary. If you don't know her, you should know her and you should follow her. But she shared so vulnerably, and it wasn't salesy at all. She was one of my dear friends at the time. And through that, I was just like, I think I'm pretty healthy, but I feel drawn to your supplements. Started taking them. The things Emily shared happened, but I was skinny. I was a mom. So I had just accepted like naps were normal. Not going to the bathroom was normal. And eating chocolate was just who I was. Like, I just loved chocolate. And so at that point, when I started to change, I realized, okay, these supplements work. And then I started meeting people she was posting on her info page and like, oh, that's a real person who came off on all those medications. That's a real person who no longer struggles with XYZ. And I felt like I had such a gift that I had to share with other people. Like, I can't keep quiet any longer. And I was super skeptical and secret. Like, my best friend did not know I was drinking the pink drink. My mom did not know I was drinking the pink drink. So super close people to me didn't know. My husband knew, but nobody else really knew at this point. And at the end of October, Krista was going for Emerald. It was October 31st. She was at like a leaders retreat or something, posted, hey, I need 10 people to help me reach Emerald. And I just felt like the Lord said, you're supposed to help her. And I'm like, okay. So I reached out to her. I'm like, Krista, I want to order like 10 times, whatever you need. She's like, well, you already have 100 PV. I had zero knowledge of the business, wanted nothing to do with it at that point. She was like, well, you're already helping me, but you could get friends to do it too. And that would help me. And so at that point I had to like lay down my pride and ask the Lord, is this what you want me to do? And what I realized was the only thing that was holding me back was my pride. I was like, I am not doing this because of what others will think of me. So I talked to my husband and he was on board. So that in itself was a miracle, because 6 months prior when we had ordered, we were both in agreement. We're pastors. We're not sharing this with anyone. Pastors don't do network marketing. Like, we had seen it done the wrong way. And so the fact that he agreed that I should do it was a miracle in itself. So that night I messaged 5 of my closest friends. I went silver that night. And I said, okay, Lord, I think you're in this. I'll post once a day for a year. I'll see where this thing goes. By the end of the next year, all I did for a year was post on social media, plug them into an info page, and set up a 3-way chat with Krista. And then I would let them order from my website, right? And so I was putting them into a simple system and kind of refusing the fact that I had a business. I was just obeying the Lord at this point. And at the end of that year, I was making probably a couple $1,000s a month. And I thought, well, this is kind of fun. Pastors' wives don't usually have that extra kind of money. And I think that the Lord is breathing on this. So we'll keep going. And so I kind of did it for fun for a couple years. But when my salary became like $60,000, my husband told me I wasn't allowed to say it was a side hobby anymore. And I needed to tell people I had an actual business. So that is what I did. And then he breathed emerald in our business. We went emerald pretty quickly. I went emerald in April 2020, and I went sapphire in August 2020. Okay. So I went from emerald to sapphire pretty quickly. And then I've sat at sapphire. I've fallen below sapphire just a bit, and we're almost back up to sapphire now. Praise the Lord. And we're going to head to diamond. So before Emily came into the picture, what the Lord was doing was just preparing me and sharing with me that it was okay to talk about finances. I had to overcome the obstacle of finances aren't bad. People need the opportunity. And just like he had breathed in me in the beginning of my business, that we had a gift of health, he was like, you have a gift of opportunity. And right now, more than ever, people need this opportunity, and the quick cash that they can make is beyond belief. Plexus has made it so easy for us. And what we're able to share with other people is life-changing. So I can get behind that. And for someone who loves to better people, right, their life where they are, someone who talks to people daily about maybe anxiety, depression, weight management, because they're so overweight, they can't run the race that they want to run in life, it comes easy, comes naturally to help other people. And one shift I started making was talking about the business, because when you talk about the business, you're going to bring business builders. So for the past couple years, around when I went emerald, I started sharing what the finances have done for me and what they've done for other people as well. So it's not like, sometimes people can't see the big picture of I'm going to go emerald. I couldn't see that initially when I first started. And years after that, I was like, oh, I'm not doing this to go emerald. I'll never be a Joel. I said those things to myself and already felt defeated. People can't see that. So even just starting small and showing people you can make an extra $300, and that would make all the difference when you go to the grocery store. What are little small goals that are happening and team members around you or in your own life? Paying for your products is a big deal. Being able to deal with this inflation in any way is a big deal, and it's life-changing for other people. And so Emily and her husband are dear friends now, but originally when I met her, she was just on social media. Her and her husband were incredible supporters of my husband and I's ministry. We have a traveling ministry, and now we have a church here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And she came to an event of ours. I think it was a partners retreat. I'm not exactly sure what, I think it was a partners retreat. And she came back. She was the sweetest thing ever. And she just encouraged me in what I was doing. Didn't think she was interested at all. She was just like, hey, you go, girl. You're an entrepreneur. I see what you're doing for the Lord, for other people. This is amazing. Keep going. And honestly, breathe so much life into me, because sometimes when we're doing these things online and you're not able to see these people, you're like, is what I'm doing really making a difference though? Are people really watching me? But the truth is that people are watching you all the time. And Emily was just proof of that and able to pour that belief and encouragement inside of me. And so shortly after that, I heard from her on Instagram, and I'm going to let her kind of share her side, and then we'll wrap it with a tiny bow with some tips for y'all of how you can recruit and keep them there, and then also bring other people in to help them go fast starts. So Emily, go ahead and take it away.
Well, thank you so much. It's just an honor to be here tonight. Emily, thank you for the invitation. And I just say major props to our leaders. I don't know how they do these Zoom calls at 9:30 or 9 o'clock. It's one thing to log in and receive the encouragement, but I just thank you guys so much for how you pour into us week after week. You're doing a great job raising up leaders. And so I just want to thank you for that. So I didn't know anything about Plexus even 9 months ago, never heard of the company. And Morgan's husband, Jeremiah Johnson, is a best-selling author. And so I had read one of his books called Houses of Glory. A mentor of mine put it in my hands. And actually it was very, very profound read for us because it gave language to what God was organically doing in the house church network he was asking us to raise up. So it was a powerful moment for us when we read that. And all of a sudden it was like, oh my goodness, somebody gave us words for what God's called us to do. And through that, I started following Jeremiah on Instagram. And, you get interested in people's families. And so I clicked over to Morgan one day, and of course it's like plexus. And I had no clue. So I'm like, what is this pink drink? And why can't someone come up with a better name than that? So, from a marketing standpoint. So, I think when we hear people's origin stories, their plexus origin stories, we want to mine them for gold. Like, what are the nuggets here? And one of the nuggets you can take from my story is that I had to watch from a distance for months. Never commented, just a lurker in the background. I don't know how many plexus seeds had to be planted, but it was a lot. So for those of you right now who have possibilities and you're like, man, like I've planted seeds here for 6 months and, or 6 weeks or however long, and nothing's happening, just know that every seed has a germination time. And, even like just a really simple idea the Lord gave me this week was somebody I've been working with for like 6 weeks now. I bought these inexpensive glass water bottles on Amazon. I think they're like less than $3 a piece. And because I've worked with her so many times, I put a bunch of samples in it, took one of my reset books out of the box, went up, gave it to her. It started a whole conversation that I think is going to finally move her to the point of purchasing. So one of my nuggets from my origin story is that Morgan planted many, many seeds without even knowing me before it ever began to germinate and bear fruit. So, I followed her for a while. Emily asked, what's our headspace? My headspace then was that I was tired. We had just gotten about to the end of a year of being bivocational, running a full-time business and a full-time ministry, and learning what it's like to pastor on top of all of that and all that goes into having a church of 50 people. So I was tired. So my need, what Plexus spoke to me was active. I was like, give me the energy. Coffee doesn't agree with me. It causes my adrenals to crash if I drink it consistently. So I was looking for energy. And so when we were in Charlotte in April, I just wanted to encourage Morgan. I was like, she's doing a great job. I love supporting female business owners. I'm just going to go over there and encourage her and tell her she's killing it, And then I'm over there, and pretty much through the whole conversation, I sell myself on active, So I had pretty much, by the time I walked away, been like, yeah, I'm going to try this when I get home. And I think one of the important things is let's be open to partners and possibilities. I wasn't really looking for supplements or for a business opportunity. I have a cabinet full of high-end supplements from my chiropractor and my naturopath. I've been doing supplements for 15 years. It's part of how the Lord, healed my body from all the different mental and physical illnesses that I was struggling with. And I wasn't really looking for something new, but when you're open to the possibility or the potential for a partnership, God can totally do something with that. And so it was that face-to-face meeting that got me to try the products. And I immediately saw a difference in my energy. I mean, you can't take active and, 10 minutes later, you're like, I can fly, so my chiropractor is like, she's like, yeah, that's the nitric oxide thing. It's, great. So I was hooked on that. And then my other health goal this year was just moderation. I'm like really good at extremes. I can feast well and I can fast well, but I'm not a good moderate eater. And so my goal this year was just to be a one plate eater most of the time. And so the problem was I had a ton of food cravings. And so that eventually wears your will down when you're hungry all the time. So Slim brought correction to that right away too. So I saw 2 positive impacts and I'm like, this is a legit product. Then I was like, oh, I have one of my best friends, Erin Conrad. She owns a gym. She's a single mom. She was looking for a new revenue stream. I'm like, this would be perfect for her, kind of like, I'm never doing this, but I'm not afraid to shove my best friend into it kind of thing. And through that process, we got a meeting with Morgan, and the Lord's like, you're doing this too. And I'm like, no, I'm not, like kind of did the whole Jonah thing for several weeks. But as I really listened to his heart, and sat before him, and he had to prove it to me in his word, because that's just the way I need to see it to have peace. I have a founder calling on my life. I'm a really good visionary. I found things, and she needed a teammate. We're called to go out 2 by 2. And so my Fast Start Gold story is really all about team. It really has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with Jesus Christ, and that he said, you're going to do this and I'm going to prosper it, and just willing to take a risk, step out on the water, and trust by faith that he was going to lead every step of the way, and about building a team. So in 24 hours, I went silver, because I went in with 2 of my best friends and my husband. I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't plan that. In fact, one of my friends, I refused to even tell her I was doing it, because I didn't think it was going to be crunchy enough for her. And so I already disqualified her before I started, which, if you want another, like my story for gold and take something away, don't make people's decisions for them. Give them the opportunity. I hear my team say all the time, I don't want to be pushy. It's not pushy until someone says no, and then you step over that boundary. Up until that point, you're just giving them the same possibility that somebody gave you. And so, I just want to encourage you. But for me, I'm all about specialize to generalize. So I'm not going to do everything well. I don't want to do everything well. I want to surround myself with people who do the things well that I don't do. And I want to be released to do the things well I do. I'm really good at building teams and raising up leaders. My good friend Erin Conrad is a gym owner, so she's a phenomenal coach. She's a health and wellness specialist. She knows all the science stuff. My other really good friend, Molly, who went into the business with me, is a major researcher, a fantastic teacher. And so between the 3 of us, we kind of just started covering our bases right away. So there's something I teach my team, and it's called the 7 keys to build a business God can bless. That's the number one thing. The reason we went Fast Start Gold are those keys. The second number one reason, or the second reason, I don't think you can have a second number one reason. See, I don't know how y'all do this late at night, but forgive my words, but is my team. And they're incredible people, and they're professionals, and they're running hard. And so I just want to encourage you guys today to ask you the question, what's your finish? What's your finish now? It's a little bit like Emily's, like, what did you say about Morgan and something about Sapphire? Like she's pushing her
being Sapphire. Stop
being Sapphire. Yeah. Like I encourage my team, what's your finish? Because all of us have a different finish. I wanted to, I mean, if I'm going to do something, I'm probably going to do it extreme. So I'm setting my eyes on diamond, and I'm building my business like that from day one. And so I just encourage you to ask the Lord that. Don't come up with it on your own. Say, Lord, what's my finish? And then you can rest in that, because everything that Jesus does is it is finished work. So if he's decreed that over your life, you can rest into it. And then work doesn't feel like work, it's joy. So that's a little bit about my Plexus story. Toss it back to Morgan, I think, for recruiting or retaining tips.
Yeah, no, I love that. Morgan, hold on. I got to pin you back, but this is so good. Oh my goodness. I got goosebumps everywhere. Okay. We're going to wrap it up with, tell me how you are. Okay. So you have a level 1 Fast Start Gold. She is developing and creating silvers. So tell me what you guys think. Cause she mentioned, she has her 7 key things that she speaks over her team and with her team. So tell me what y'all are doing to develop fast starts or to recruit. And then the biggest thing is keeping them. We like reorders, right? That's how we rank up, is when people reorder. So how are we doing that over there? What are y'all doing?
Yeah, so good. Well, first of all, you guys are going to be like annoyed if you've been around for a while, but consistency. My number one strength from day one has been consistency, and that consistency is going to build credibility. And I easily sign people up now because I've consistently shown up for 6 years, but that doesn't disqualify you. I feel like I'm supposed to encourage you guys. Some of you guys have already said, okay, I'm not like them. You're disqualifying yourself. However, don't do that. You're here, you're hungry, you're ready to learn, and anyone can do this. So I can bring somebody else on next week who's totally different than Emily. All of my runners look very, very different, and they run their teams differently. And everybody needs a leader, and you're going to have different followers, but they need you as a leader because they joined you. So rise up to the level that God has you in and show up. You have to show up and be their leader. And that does not mean that you have to know everything. Y'all, I built a business for probably 4 years, barely knowing anything. I went to a meeting yesterday with Krista, and she was doing things I still didn't know how to do. So people don't care how much you know, but they do care about how much you care, right? That quote is so true. And the fruit is in my business. Like, I don't know all of the ingredients that are in products, but I know that they work. I can point you to people who do know what's all in the product. So don't feel like you have to know it all. And there are so many simple systems that you can plug your teams into. And so the more and longer I'm here, and especially after Jewel School, I'm developing simple systems. So stay consistent. I wrote a couple of notes because I don't want to be all over the place. Promote all the areas of plexus. The biggest thing that I try to do now, when I first started, I was like, triplex, 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 triplex. Do I believe every human being needs triplex? Yes, maybe. There's only like 5% that doesn't, but not everybody knows that they need triplex, right? So you have to be able to have a conversation, build a relationship, and then know what their need is and show them that aspect of plexus. So some people want the business, some people want the skincare, some people want gut health, some people want weight management. There's only like a few different areas. And so what we're doing on our team and what I'm teaching my people to do on their team is, first of all, we send them a quiz that's amazing on our website. Send them your quiz link, right? It's also a referral link. And then I say, screenshot this. After you take the quiz, screenshot it, send it back to me, and I'm going to give you a coupon code just for doing that. And we'll figure out what supplements are best for you. But what that does is show me how they've answered. And I start asking them questions based off of what results they've gotten. And then I see what's best for them. And then I let them know after they've ordered, hey, guess what? You have a referral link just like that. And I don't want finances to stand in the way of your health goals. So if your mom or your sister or your brother or your mother, or they want to do it with you, they can use that referral link and you're going to get cash back. So I don't initially start talking to people about the business. By the way, my friend Jenna Hatula gave me those steps. And we started implementing them pretty quickly. And the turnaround on that, almost 95% of people are like, oh, cool. I probably have a friend that would do this with me. And I've always encouraged people to do it with somebody, because when you have accountability, you're going to be more successful. I started to get frustrated with how many people, I'm a heavy recruiter. You'll usually see my face on the leaderboard, and I'm usually discouraged. I'm like, Krista, why is my face on the leaderboard? But my points didn't go up. Like, unless I see fruit, like a leader, Emily, rising up to her goals, I'm frustrated. So if I'm like looking good on the outlet, I don't really care about that. To me, seeing other people hit their goals fuels me. And when you see other people hit their goals, you will automatically hit your goals. And that's what Emily watched in her business. Yes, do I think that each of you on this call can personally sign up or help 20 people order in one calendar month? Yes. But do I think it's a whole lot easier if you sign up 4 people and they help 4 people sign up, and then boom, you're fast start gold? Yes. And if you can sign up 20, awesome. Help all those 20 people sign up 4 people. And where are your points then. So really, we just started grabbing a hold of, this is a ripple effect and it's not just for you. And don't shy away from what other people can do. I did that for years. It's like I hid from people after they ordered. I didn't want people to know that this was a business opportunity, and really realized, shoot, people want this. I had people sign up with me and they would have success, but they wanted money. So they joined a clothing company or something. And I'm like, man, they wanted a business opportunity. And I never presented them with that. So your job is just to present them with the opportunity, and then they get to choose whether they bite on that or not. And so from that, I feel like I've had a lot of people go fast start. If they don't go fast start, they're usually at least going silver within a couple months of starting their business. So that's been wonderful. And our points have consistently gone up, which is amazing, as we were just staying steady. And so I'm ready to stop being sapphire. But I feel like the number one objection too that we have focused on is people say they can't afford it. And we're even disqualifying them like, oh, but my friends and family can't afford it. Well, I know tons of stories like Jen Leith, Krista Deary, like people who were on food stamps, people who couldn't afford milk for their family, trying Plexus. And then now it's like, whoa. So changing your mindset is huge of, do you believe the gift that you have in your hand? And if you do, you know that those people can't afford not to take the leap of joining. And when people can't afford it, I'm like, okay, they need the business. That's their solution. And how am I going to help them get to that? So we do have practical parties sometimes, or I'm just giving them like a script they can send to their closest friends around them and telling them, put them in a 3-way with me. Because if you have success with signing someone up, then just say, hey girl, you haven't even gotten your welcome pack yet. Let me help you explain what you're about to do. And your friends and family are going to want to do this with you. And so you're kind of doing the legwork, and that's helping train them for their future signups in the future. So that's what I got, girlfriend. Emily, take it away.
No, I love it. I think you two are fantastic. I love that you're both very different, but I also love that you're both so passionate about helping others, whether it is through ministry or supplements or motherhood or just cheering on another female business owner. Because here's the thing, you guys, one of my favorite memes that circulates through network marketers, especially believers, is when we get a call from the Lord, it ain't a conference call. All right. He didn't put it on speakerphone with like 8 other people and he like, y'all come here, listen this. That's not how he works. It's on your heart, because he knows your heart. He knows every hair on the top of your head. And so when it comes to this invitation that you get from a friend, and you guys know, when you message that one person and you're so excited and you're passionate, and then it's not the right time for them, or they say no, or they thumbs up you, right? I love a good thumbs up, because I'm like, thank you for replying. Thank you so much. Like, that's just what I start saying now. But anyways, sometimes it hurts because you're so passionate and you're so excited and you hear these great tips and you hear all these great things happening in people's businesses, but why aren't they happening in yours? And so tonight, when you get off of this Zoom, I love a good logical tip to apply and get into action right away. Some of you are going to bed and you're like, Emily, tomorrow. That's fine. But some of you are like, let's freaking go. I'm ready to work. And so if that's you, when you get off this Zoom, I want you to think about the last 3 conversations you had with people that are not on your team, the people that you want on your team, the people that you want to do business with. And I want you to think about, have I told them about the business? Did I only bring up money? Or did I maybe take a second to see what's going on in their life? I love what Caitlin put in the chat. She went Fast Start Senior Gold on our team. And she said I think it was during 2020, right, Caitlin? You can shake your head. Yes, I can see you. Yeah. Okay. During the pandemic, her family was on food stamps and she was hungry. It's like, I don't know if for some people you got to be put on food stamps to make a move with your life. I grew up on WIC. My mom was a single mom of 4. So I know what that hunger is like physically and metaphorically, but like, you guys, you don't have to be in a position like that to want this. It could be simply to have extras It could be simply to put your kid in that private school. It could be simply to, pay off debt, because some of us are up to our eyeballs in debt, right? Whatever that looks like for you, Plexus can be that stepping stone to bring in income to help you with those things. But that hunger and that passion and that consistency that Morgan mentioned. And then I love what Emily said about partners and possibilities, because when you look at someone, I don't want you to see dollar signs. I want you to see a possibility in a friendship and someone that you can partner with. And so if you change that narrative of this person's about to make me rich to, I want to partner with them and owe the possibilities because I see this strength in them, right? Like clearly Emily's a firecracker. She said she's like an extremist. She's like, I go all in. Who does that sound like? It sounds like me. And maybe it's an Emily thing. I don't know. But think about those people in your life that aren't on your team yet, that are like right there, or maybe they're the furthest from you. And I want you to acknowledge their strengths tonight, tomorrow. Send them a voice message. Don't be a chicken. Don't type it out. Don't count. Send them a voice message so they can hear the sincerity of your voice, and let them know the strengths that you see in them, and send it as almost like an invitation, right? When you are invited to a birthday party, or in our instance, an opportunity, when you're invited to something, it's not like all caps. Usually it's not intimidating or like, ew, I would never go to her party. It's, you want to go, right? Like there's going to be cake and ice cream. We might even have an inflatable. Like that's how you present Plexus. Yeah, guys, we got Pink Drink and Active. There might even be a trip to Hawaii and a Plexus Lexus. We'll get there, but you got to show up. That is the invitation that you need to put out to the people that aren't on your team yet. And then the people that you already have on your team that maybe you've forgotten about, or maybe they're going through a crazy season of life. And this is the number one thing that God's put in their life that they forgot about. Maybe their subscription's off because they're trying to afford groceries and Plexus is their extra. So have those conversations tonight and be that little blip of hope for someone the rest of this week. It's Tuesday, y'all. We got plenty of week left to make moves, I'm really excited about that. You guys, let's wrap up summer with this story that you heard tonight. You had two very different people. I mean, Emily was like, I was an Instagram stalker. I was literally just like checking her out, cheering her on. Not for me, good for you. How many of you have done that? Not for me, good for you. Whether it's blonde hair, highlights, bangs, we've all done it over something in somebody's life, right? Like, not for me, good for you. But there's people in your life doing that to you. Do you get that? It doesn't matter if you're 18 or 88. We got every age on this team. It's just about making that move. So I'm going to close this out. I'm going to pray for you guys. I hope that you have a great week. Let's pray and wrap this thing up. And then of course I'll get y'all the recording. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for such awesome people. I think sometimes that's just your little sense of humor and God wink when we have a really hard day. You know our hearts, you know our businesses, you know every hair on our head, and you know the intentions that we just want to honor you. We want to glorify you in everything that we do. And maybe we're not doing that right now. Maybe we've been running away and avoiding the hard things because we need your help. So Lord, I pray for everyone on this call tonight that they would have courage and you would just fill them with the fruit of the Spirit this week, because life is rough, but we can do all things through you. You give us strength, and we're going to lean on that this week. And we love you. And we thank you for sending your son, Jesus, to die on the cross and to save us from ourselves. Amen. You guys are awesome. Have a great week. Love you, mean it. Good night.